Let's study 9th standard ICSE English Literature, Story 1, Chief Seattle's speech. This speech was given by Chief Seattle in the latter half of the 19th century, and it has been translated into English by Dr. Henry Smith. Now, the background of the story is that the white settlers from Europe, especially from UK, in America, wanted to expand their territory. The Native Americans, that is the Red Indians, were asked to be pushed back. They were asked to leave their land, give it to the white settlers, and be restricted to certain land far away from their motherland. The Chief Seattle was a Suquamish tribe leader of a province in Washington at that time. Now, the US president at that time was Franklin Pierce, and under him, the governor of that area gave an offer to Chief Seattle that if he's willing to relinquish the land and give it to the white settlers, then they would treat him and the entire tribe in a friendly manner. Now, Chief Seattle gives this powerful speech. It's a bittersweet plea for the rights of the Native Americans and also for preserving the environment. This speech highlights the difference between the philosophy of the Native Americans, the Red Indians, and the philosophy of the white settlers. They were incompatible, and yet they had to work out a way to live harmoniously with each other and with Mother Nature. The Chief Seattle is aware that he has practically no choice. He has to accept the offer and leave the land because he is outnumbered. The white settlers are technologically more advanced and they are greater in their numbers as well, settling from Europe, from UK, colonizing areas just like they had colonized the Asian countries and the African countries at that time. So the Chief Seattle calls the governor as the white chief, and he addresses the US president as great chief, big chief, or great white chief. So you should not be confused when he refers to white chief or great white chief. It should be very clear whom is he addressing. Also, Chief Seattle was confused himself because he thought that the US president at that time was George Washington, which was not the case. Actually, it was Franklin Pierce. Perhaps he was not aware of this. Now, on one hand, he is quite sad that he has to leave the land. He knows that the friendship that the white people are offering is not a friendship of two equals, because clearly the white settlers are more powerful than the Red Indians. So, he's sad that the land will be usurped by the white settlers. He reminisces about the days when the Red Indians used to prosper in the land. There would be a huge population, so many tribes of Red Indians, and they were using the resources well, living in harmony. But now their population was dwindling because the white settlers had started capturing and conquering that area. Another incompatible thing between these two cultures was that their religion was different. The Red Indians believed in the Great Spirit, and the traditions of their ancestors was their religion. It was passed down from one generation to another through word of mouth, through practicing traditions, worshipping the elements of nature. They worshipped all the resources available to them, the warmth, the soil, the valleys, the rivers. On the other hand, the white settlers brought a new religion with them, Christianity, which was quite different because they had laws written in a book, laws which they claimed God had put forth in a stone tablet. The commandments had to be followed. And even their philosophies were different because the white settlers were exploitative. They believed that the whole earth is for humans to exploit. All animals and vegetation is for the welfare of human beings only. Whereas the Red Indians respected all organisms. They believed that they need to live in harmony with all this other species as well. The white settlers, they believed that there are infinite resources, we can just keep exploiting them. They were more materialistic compared to the Red Indians, which were not. The Red Indians believed that after death, the soul of the dead people remained in the land. They believed that the spirits of their ancestors were still there in the soil, in the brooks and in the valleys. And they wanted to worship these ancestors. It was their link to their heritage and to their past. Whereas this white people, they had no such culture. For them, once dead, that's the end of the person. They did not have that kind of connection with their ancestors as claimed by the Chief Seattle. This speech was so moving, and it's relevant even today, because even today we are materialistic and exploiting Mother Nature. So later, one of the cities of US was named after him, the city of Seattle. And despite these objections that he had to accept the offer. Because first of all, he wanted non-violence. He did not want unnecessary war between them, even though he knew that his tribe could not win. They were outnumbered. And also he was aware that many of the youth of the Red Indians had already attacked the white settlers and had lost their lives, and he had seen firsthand what happens to the families who lose their children because of war. So he did not want to fight. And its population was decreasing, so there was no way they could fight for their rights except for making a speech which would possibly move the white people. And of course there was a threat of the other tribes like Haidas and Tsimshians, and the US president had offered them protection against these if this tribe joined hands and followed the instructions of the white people. So he said that perhaps we'll have to try to work it out. Even though he does not feel that the Red Indians and the white people can be brothers, and he doesn't feel that he can adopt Christianity as their religion. Because as the white people said that there is only one God who would take care of y'all as well, but the Red Indians, they wonder why have their own God left them, and why has the Christian God not helped the Red Indians to prosper? Why is there a discrimination? So he is willing to consider the offer, but he has a few points to make, even if he agrees. First of all, he reminds the white settlers that every civilization rises and falls. So there's no need to be arrogant. He tells the white settlers that y'all may be prospering now, conquering new lands, but a day will come when even y'all will see a decline in your power. And that has turned out to be true. Also, the land will always be sacred to them. He says that he needs assurance from the white settlers that even if they move away, they should be given the freedom to come back to worship their sacred places whenever they want to, because they still believe that their ancestral spirits are still connected to the nature, where they had spent their entire life, where their blood has mixed with the soil of that area. And they warn the white settlers against exploiting the natural resources. And the Red Indians feel that a person can never be alone. There are some spirits always observing you, always checking what you're doing with Mother Nature. So that concludes his speech. Hi students, this is AJ sir. If you like this video, press the like button. If you would like to enroll for my online test series or online lectures, email me or message me on Instagram. Check the description for more information.